Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
उत्तरांचल की राजधानी देहरादून में 27 सितंबर से 29 सितंबर तक 8वीं अखिल भारतीय लोकायुक्त, लोकपाल, उप लोकायुक्तों के सम्मेलन के कारण काफी गहमागहमी रही। देश भर के लोकायुक्त, लोकपाल, उप लोकायुक्त देहरादून इस सम्मेलन में भाग लेने पहुंचे। देहरादून स्थित वन अनुसंधान संस्थान परिसर में आयोजित यह सम्मेलन गौरवपूर्ण रहा। इस सम्मेलन का उद्घाटन 27 सितंबर को देश के राष्ट्रपति डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम ने किया। महामहिम राष्ट्रपति ने सम्मेलन में पधारकर इस सम्मेलन को गरिमा प्रदान कर दी। उत्तरांचल के राज्यपाल सुदर्शन अग्रवाल और मुख्यमंत्री नारायण दत्त तिवारी भी इस अवसर पर उपस्थित थे। वन अनुसंधान संस्थान देहरादून के दीक्षांत सभागार में आयोजित इस समारोह में मुख्य अतिथि और विशिष्ट अतिथियों का स्वागत किया गया। सम्मेलन के उद्घाटन समारोह में महामहिम राष्ट्रपति और आमंत्रित मेहमानों का स्वागत किया सम्मेलन के संयोजक न्यायमूर्ति SHA रजा ने।
Rampant corruption is our major national malady. Corruption is the big factor retarding the progress of our country, where millions still gone below the poverty line, even though astronomical amount of money have been spent in the development. On behalf of all Lokayuktas, Lokpals, UPA-Lokayuktas, and my own behalf, we express our deep gratitude to His Excellency, the President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, for having accepted our invitation to inaugurate this 8th All India Conference of Lokayuktas, Lokpals, UPA-Lokayuktas, despite his very busy schedule. We also express our thanks to His Excellency, the Governor of Uttaranchal, Shri Sudarshan Agarwal, and Honorable the Chief Minister of Uttaranchal, Shri N.D. Tiwari, for providing us all necessary help and assistance, without which it would not have been possible to organize this conference.
Lokayukta institutions came into existence in different years, in different states in India. The first Lokayukta institution was established in Orissa in the year 1970. Thereafter, these institutions were established in different states in different years, namely Maharashtra 72, Rajasthan 73, Bihar 74, Uttar Pradesh 77, Madhya Pradesh 81, Andhra Pradesh 83, Himachal Pradesh 83, Karnataka 1984, Assam 1986, Gujarat 1988, Delhi 1995, Punjab 1996, Kerala 1998, Chhattisgarh and Uttaranchal 2002. In Orissa, the earlier 1970 law was repealed and law was reenacted in the year 1995. In Haryana also, the institution came into existence as a result of the Haryana Lokpal Act 1997, but the said act was repealed and reenacted in 2002, enforced with effect from 1st of August 2004, but so far no appointment has been made. After coming into existence of Lokayukta institutions, some conferences were held. First All India Conference was held on 26th of May 86 at Shimla, second at Nagpur on 22nd of August 1989, third on 26th of October 1991 at Hyderabad, fourth on 7th March 1995 at AP Bhavan, New Delhi, and fifth conference on 10th February 1996 at Gandhinagar, Gujarat. Regular conferences were started from the year 2001. Sixth All India Conference of Lokayukta and UPA-Lokayuktas was held at New Delhi on 22nd, 23rd January 2001.
It is unfortunate that even when it has become the accepted norm throughout the world that the public functionaries in every democratic country should exhibit transparency in their functioning and they must be accountable for their functioning to the citizens of the country, the succeeding central government should have totally failed to have a central legislation as recommended by the Administrative Reforms Commission for creation of Lokpal and Lokayukta institutions in the country for redress of citizens' grievances against public functionaries by Lokpals and Lokayuktas to be appointed thereunder, or at least to bring about constitutional amendments needed to confer constitutional status upon the Lokayuktas and Lokpals institutions created by state legislatures, and upon Lokpal and Lokayuktas to be appointed to function in such institutions as had been recommended in the said Administrative Reforms Commission's report itself. What is distressing is that the political parties, while in their election manifestos invariably have made solemn promises to create Lokpal and Lokayukta institutions in the country through appropriate legislation for the better governance of the governments in the country, when they are elected to power, have not kept up those promises, even when they have been elected to power times over. It is how this conference is required to deliberate on the need to recommend to the central government for bringing an uniform and effective central legislation on creation of Lokpal and Lokayukta institutions in the center and in all the states of the country, very much needed for the just, fast and inexpensive redress of citizens' grievances against public functionaries responsible for delivery of public services to which citizens become entitled, particularly for their human development under the poverty alleviation schemes for the governments of Republic, formulated to give effect to the directive principles of state policy in the Constitution, and also for making the Parliament to amend the Constitution so as to confer constitutional status upon the Lokpal and Lokayuktas institutions, and also upon the Lokpals and Lokayuktas to be appointed in such institutions needed for their effective functioning, as is recommended by the Administrative Reforms Commission itself in its report of 31st August 1966.
Excellency, you are visiting here and coming over to inaugurate this conference shows that you want a non-corrupt and a clean society, a cleaner administration, and better administrations who are honest. And your coming here is a great source of inspiration to us in Uttaranchal, has always been so. I hope this conference will not be a leading light for Uttaranchal alone, or Uttar Pradesh alone, never in Uttar Pradesh, but also for or Himachal Pradesh or Haryana, but also to all the states of the country, and the political leadership also will give the necessary thought to its recommendations, necessary support to its recommendations.
Corruption in public life, to my mind, is a gross violation of human rights. The Lokayukts should also consider creating public awareness and a sense of outrage against corruption. I do hope that this gathering will try to evolve a consensus and come up with recommendations that will convey the tremendous burden of public expectation that will, on the one hand, ensure some consistency and credibility in your role in different states across the country, and on the other, ensure that the much delayed Lokpal bill is passed as early as possible. To that purpose, all right-minded citizens of our country will eagerly await your recommendations. On behalf of the government and people of Uttaranchal, let me conclude by once again welcoming you all to this bountiful state. I do hope these divine surroundings will provide inspiration to suggest effective ways of tackling the human frailties of our public servants.
और अब क्षण था महामहिम राष्ट्रपति के संबोधन का। उन्होंने इस अवसर पर कहा कि लोकायुक्त संस्थाओं को सभी राज्यों में गठित किया जाना चाहिए।
Even though necessity of Lokpal Lokayukta was felt in the early 1960 itself, we find a large number of states and union territories are not having this institution. Also, the apex body, that is Lokpal, is yet to be instituted. Lokpal Lokayukta is expected to work as people's prosecutor, inquiring into citizens' complaint against maladministration. This situation needs the immediate attention of all the elected representatives who are primarily responsible for accountability and governance. I would urge all the state governments to institute the Lokayuktas in their respective states in a time-bound manner within the next 3 months, where the mechanism does not exist at present. The responsibility for good, transparent governance of the people of the country lies with the elected representatives. The elected representatives, in turn, are supported by the bureaucracy in implementation of their schemes. The transparency and the goodness of implementation can be made visible either through technology or through an independent body providing an independent adjudicating and speedy settlement mechanism, or both. In a developing economy, socio-economic development is a mammoth task involving deployment of a large amount of resources. Execution of the task requires empowerment of the political executives and bureaucracy. They are expected to work like a proverbial fish in the water without gulping some quantity of water. It is also a fact that in the name of socio-economic development, a lot of power is vested with the political executives, allowing much dynamism, initiative, and also vast financial powers. There is a growing feeling in the minds of the people that there are forces at work which can negate the rule of law. Our country's citizenry has started articulating the concern that the crimes committed by those who are highly placed in the society remain unpunished. As is evident, the main target of investigation, Lokayuktas, Lokpal, is a political executive. The function sought to be invested with them no doubt opens up Pandora's box as the complaints are politically sensitive nature. However, surprisingly, in most cases, the existing Lokayuktas, it is found that MLAs are kept out of the Lokayukta and its preview on the plea that they cannot be placed in the category of public servant. This point was highlighted in the recent case in Karnataka when a case was brought before the Lokayukta of that state. Since retired and eminent judges are heading Lokayuktas, it is essential for them to clearly interpret who are included in the purview of Lokayuktas you can discuss today. If this aspect is not clear, this conference should debate so that appropriate recommendation can be made to the government.
महामहिम राष्ट्रपति ने पारदर्शी प्रशासन को प्रोत्साहन दिए जाने पर बल दिया। उन्होंने कर्नाटक की लोकायुक्त संस्था को उचित बताया।
There is a model available, as I talked to you, in Karnataka, where Lokayukta has become a proactive in unearthing corruption and irregularities in various government departments. This aspect, one session, this gathering can devote to find out how it is done. Having more powers than his counterpart in the other states, he visits offices, hospitals to personally check on cases of irregularities and corruption. Due to the proactive action, I understand that the Lokayukta has been able to unearth the property of a large property amounting huge amount, which was amassed disproportionate to known sources of income. The jurisdiction of Lokayuktas has been a great subject of debate in the country. In some states, it has been made applicable over all elected representatives, including the Chief Minister. In some other states, it has no power over the Chief Minister and the MLAs. In yet other states, the Chief Minister bureaucracy are outside the purview. Thus, we can see there is no uniform thinking in the jurisdiction of Lokayuktas all over the country.
लोकायुक्त लोकपाल एजेंसियों के कार्यक्षेत्र विषय पर बोलते हुए राष्ट्रपति ने यह कहकर सभी को स्तब्ध कर दिया कि लोकपाल के दायरे में राष्ट्रपति पद को भी लिया जाना चाहिए।
In my view, all elected representatives, all top-level executives in the state who are responsible for executing the schemes of the government should be brought under the purview of the body. I would even suggest that the office, the foundation of head of judiciary, which is our system is the president, be also brought under the purview of Lokpal. However, it is ensured by the Lokayukta that elected representatives and the government servants do not become the victim of vilifications campaigned by vested interest. Sufficient safeguards have to be built in to ensure that no pettifogging takes place to ridicule this high office just for the sake of doing it. Justice delayed is justice denied. Also, in developing economy, the omission and commission should not be allowed to damage the distort and the economic outcome of the project through protracted legal processes. The Lokayukta institution must ensure speedy delivery system which can be incorporated as a mid-course correction and the minimum damage to the development process. It is of utmost importance that the investigative findings of Lokayuktas made available and process of investigation and prosecution remain and insulated from political influences. This can also be discussed in this conference.
लोकायुक्तों के इस सम्मेलन के दूसरे दिन राजनीतिक दलों के प्रतिनिधियों सहित अनेक वरिष्ठ पत्रकारों के साथ विचार विमर्श किया गया कि भ्रष्टाचार को समाप्त करने के लिए किस प्रकार समाज के विभिन्न वर्गों का सहयोग मिल सके। मीडिया की अनेक हस्तियों ने भी इसमें भाग लिया।
The people elect a government. The role of the media is to respect the people's verdict and proceed to lend critical support to the establishment. In other words, on an issue, you were not the opposition, you were to take up issues and criticize them, and that is where, so there's a very thin line between adversarial role of the media and giving critical support on an issue by issue basis. This was the line.
ये एक अच्छी शुरुआत है क्योंकि देश की जनता भ्रष्टाचार से बहुत त्रस्त है और जो मौजूदा एजेंसियां हैं जैसे सीबीआई है, सीवीसी है और कुछ हद तक न्यायपालिका जनता का दुख दूर करने में पूरी तरह सफल नहीं हुए हैं। भ्रष्टाचार बढ़ता जा रहा है, अपराधियों को सज़ा नहीं मिल रही है। लोकपाल का जो एक इंस्टीट्यूशन है जिसके बारे में 1968 से विचार चल रहा है, लेकिन आज तक इसको संवैधानिक अधिकार नहीं दिया गया, इसको वो शक्तियाँ नहीं दी गई जिससे कि भ्रष्टाचारियों के खिलाफ कड़ी कार्रवाई हो सके। इस मांग को रखने के लिए सम्मेलन में लोकपालों लोकायुक्तों ने अपनी बात रखी और हम लोगों ने मीडिया के लोगों ने अपना सहयोग देने की बात रखी। कुल मिलाकर एक अच्छी शुरुआत है। राष्ट्रपति जी कह गए हैं कि उनको भी दायरे में लिया जाए लोकपाल के। पूरे देश में अगर इस तरह का माहौल बने मीडिया से और एनजीओ से कि सरकार पर दबाव डाला जाए और ये विधेयक पारित हो।
मेरा मानना यह है कि एक पूरी एक फौज बननी चाहिए। भ्रष्टाचार से अगर हमको सही माने में और पक्के इरादे से अगर भ्रष्टाचार का मुकाबला करना है तो इसमें जो जांच एजेंसीज हैं, सीबीआई हैं, हर एक राज्य के अलग अलग जांच एजेंसी हैं, फिर विजिलेंस कमिश्नर है, चीफ विजिलेंस कमिश्नर है, सीवीसी, इसके साथ साथ लोकायुक्त, क्योंकि लोकायुक्त को आम पब्लिक के लिए लोकायुक्त के पास पहुंचना आसान है, वो सीधा सीवीसी या विजिलेंस कमिश्नर तक नहीं पहुंच सकते। तो इसीलिए मैं समझता हूं कि लोकायुक्तों को और सशक्त करना चाहिए, उनको और पावर्स देना चाहिए और अगर हम सब मिल के काम करें तभी इस पे कुछ शायद अंकुश लग पाए। एक कोई एजेंसी या एक आदमी इसके साथ निपट पाएगा ये मुझे लगता नहीं है।
सही बात तो ये है कि मैंने कार्यभार संभाला है 1999 से, तब से मैंने इसको गति देने की, राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर गति देने की कोशिश की है और उसी के आधार पर हमने छठा सम्मेलन आयोजित किया था नई दिल्ली के अंदर और उसमें भी हमारा ये विषय था कि हमको क्या अधिकार दिए जाने चाहिए, सेंट्रल लॉ बनाना चाहिए और उसको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल स्टेटस का दर्जा दिया जाना चाहिए। और इसी प्रकार हमने कहा था कि लोकपाल अधिनियम अभी तक नहीं बन पाया है सेंटर के लिए, जबकि 1966, 67, 68 के अंदर दोनों विधेयक एक ही में थे। लोकपाल और लोकायुक्त अधिनियम 1900 ये प्रस्तावित किया गया था, लेकिन उसके बाद से लोकपाल अधिनियम सिर्फ सेंटर के लिए रखा गया और लोकायुक्त बराबर जो है राजस्थान के अंदर और कई राज्यों के अंदर स्थापित किए गए। इस सम्मेलन का भी मुख्य उद्देश्य जो है वह यही है कि जिन विषयों पर हमने यहाँ चर्चा की है वो विषय ऐसे हैं जिनके अंदर की वास्तव में कुछ किया जा सकता है। विशेष रूप से मैंने 8वें इस सम्मेलन के अंदर जो विषय रखे हैं उसका आधार मोटा ये है कि हमने उन दायरों के अंदर भी काम करने की कोशिश की है जहाँ पर हम पहले नहीं पहुँच पाए थे। विशेष रूप से मीडिया का जो रोल है और जो NGOs का रोल है और जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ का रोल है, ये जो सब्जेक्ट्स हैं वो इस 8वें सम्मेलन के अंदर हमने पहली बार लिए हैं और मैंने ये पाया है कि इन सब्जेक्ट्स के ऊपर काफ़ी दिलचस्पी सभी लोगों ने ली है।
लोकायुक्त, लोकपाल और उप लोकायुक्तों के 8वें अखिल भारतीय सम्मेलन के आखिरी दिन यानी 29 सितंबर को प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह मुख्य अतिथि थे। महामहिम राष्ट्रपति की भांति ही प्रधानमंत्री ने भी लोकपाल बिल का समर्थन करते हुए उसे जल्द ही पास किए जाने की बात की। साथ ही उन्होंने सूचना के अधिकार दिए जाने को केंद्र सरकार की प्राथमिकता बताया। उन्होंने यह भी याद दिलाया कि स्वाधीनता आंदोलन भी अच्छे प्रशासन के लिए संघर्ष था।
I understand this is the 8th All India Conference of Lokayuktas and UP-Lokayuktas, which is being organized by the All India Association of Lokayuktas in this beautiful city of Dehradun. The establishment of the institutions of Lokayukta and UP-Lokayukta is part of an ongoing effort to provide clean, transparent and accountable government to our people. Our struggle for independence was also a struggle for good governance. Mahatma Gandhi had understood the gathering crisis of corruption and had prophesied that the public would need to be in the forefront in exposing corrupt practices and taking to task those who are involved in these practices. As early as 1928, Mahatma Gandhi wrote in the Young India, and I quote, "Corruption will be out one day, however much one may try to conceal it, and the public can, as its right and duty in every case of justifiable suspicion, call its servant to strict account, dismiss them, sue them in a law court, or appoint an arbitrator or inspector to scrutinize their conduct as it likes," unquote. Subsequently, after independence, there were periodic proposals to create institutions for inquiring into complaints against public servants in the discharge of their duties. Lokayuktas and UP-Lokayuktas today are the institutional manifestation of the need to provide a quasi-judicial body which would act as a watchdog to pinpoint wrongs doing of the administration, look into complaints of the victims of corrupt elements, and suggest measures to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of our governments. Ladies and gentlemen, in the National Common Minimum Program of our government, we are committed to the people to give a stable, honest, transparent and efficient government capable of accomplishing all-round development. It is commonly accepted that one of the major causes of corruption is lack of transparency in public life. We are therefore committed to the implementation of the Freedom of Information Act.
प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा कि केंद्र सरकार के न्यूनतम साझा कार्यक्रम में लोकपाल बिल लागू किया जाना भी है। उन्होंने कहा कि वर्तमान में लोकपाल संस्था को बहुसदस्यीय बनाए जाने पर आम सहमति है। प्रधानमंत्री मनमोहन सिंह ने यह भी कहा कि लोकपाल के दायरे में प्रत्यक्ष या अप्रत्यक्ष चुने हुए जनप्रतिनिधि यथा सांसद, मंत्रीगण समेत प्रधानमंत्री को भी लिया जाना चाहिए।
We also have the mandate given by the Common Minimum Program to enact the Lokpal Bill, which over the past 3 decades has been introduced from time to time in Parliament, I believe 8 times, but unfortunately could not enter our statute books. I have no hesitation in saying and even confessing that the absence of an institution such as the Lokpal at the center is to some extent negatively affecting the working of the Lokayukta institution at the state level. The need for the Lokpal is therefore much more urgent at present than ever before, and we shall take effective action in this regard without any further loss of time. The current consensus is, by and large, in favor of a multi-member institution with quasi-judicial powers. There is also a broad agreement that public functionaries directly or indirectly elected by and responsible to the public, such as members of parliament and ministers, including the Prime Minister, should be brought within the purview of the Lokpal legislation.
3 दिनों तक चले लोकायुक्त, लोकपाल, उप लोकायुक्तों के इस 8वें अखिल भारतीय सम्मेलन का गौरवपूर्ण समापन प्रधानमंत्री के संबोधन के साथ ही संपन्न हुआ। कई आशाओं और उम्मीदों के साथ।
जिस प्रकार से राष्ट्रपति अब्दुल कलाम साहब ने और प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह ने हम लोगों पर अपना विश्वास व्यक्त किया है और जो कुछ हमने कहा था उससे ज़्यादा उन्होंने इस देश से कुप्रशासन और भ्रष्टाचार को मिटाने का जो संकल्प लिया है उससे हम मजबूत हुए हैं, हमारी ताकत मजबूत हुई है और हम आशा करते हैं कि जल्द ही इस विषय में उचित कार्रवाई हमारे प्रधानमंत्री द्वारा की जाएगी।
देश के राष्ट्रपति जी और प्रधानमंत्री जी की जो थिंकिंग है वो एक जैसी है। दोनों ने सबसे पहले अपने आप को दायरे में लाने के लिए कहा, तो भ्रष्टाचार तभी समाप्त होगा जो आदमी भ्रष्टाचार ख़त्म करना चाहते पहले स्वयं के लिए तैयार रहे। तो इससे संदेश बहुत अच्छा गया है और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज ये बात कही कि जो लोकायुक्त का जो संस्था है या उसमें मल्टी मेंबरशिप होनी चाहिए। इसमें केवल जुडिशरी का ही नहीं है बल्कि उसमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव होना चाहिए, कुछ विद्वान जन होने चाहिए जो एकेडमिक्स हो, ताकि जो उसका कंपोजिशन हो एक तरफा ना हो।
हमने जो जागरूकता लानी थी जन सामान्य के बीच में वो जागरूकता हम पैदा कर सके हैं और उम्मीद करता हूं कि जो सम्मेलन हुआ है उसके बाद जन जन इस संगठन के बारे में जान गया होगा।